Welcome, welcome, welcome. We in here. Welcome to the Art Life Podcast. I am your host. I am D Muse. Big shout out to the Pay the Artist Club, of course, first and foremost. If you are looking for your help, for any help with branding, marketing, sales, or positioning in your art life, make sure you go to iamdmuse.com and join the Pay the Artist Club. Our online group coaching community can surround you with like-minded artists who are looking to learn, grow, and prosper at this art thing, this thing we love, right? Today, we are going to be discussing being creative as a creative. This episode's topic, title, is Don't Just Be Creative When Creating. A lot of artists say, I'm a creator. I love creating as an artist myself. I also as well. But most artists tend to stop being creative past what it is they initially created. So if it's a poet and they create a poem, they make the poem, which is creativity, then that's it. That's their creativity is done. They don't expend any more creativity towards what's going to happen from that point on with that poem. That's done. Now, they don't know what else to do. They're not creating or inventing, coming up with what to do next. For any creative, there was previously didn't exist, and then there's a now does exist. So there wasn't any steps to take. You created something, now there's steps to take. You can't just produce, you have to promote. But for those of us that do promote, most of us aren't being as creative in our promotion as we are when we're creating the creation. It stops there. You have to get past that. You have to do some things that others aren't doing the same way you're doing when you're creating something. Don't just be creative when you're creating. Be creative once the creation is finished as well. Now let's create some traffic. Let's create some awareness. Let's create some funds. And oftentimes it's not going to happen unless you're also creative with everything that needs to happen both before and after you created what it is that you set out to create. So there's a lot of particularly content creators who aren't creative, just putting out stuff. There's nothing creative about it. You're doing what everybody else does in pretty much the same way everybody else does it. Where's the creativity in that? A creative is creative in all things. Creative is creative in conversation. If you are a creative. So be a creative creator. Be creative in your branding. So, of course, not only make sure there's alignment everywhere possible, the names are showing up on, different platforms the same, you're pushing them to the same links. Also be creative and focusing on what makes you different. You're the only you. So we just need to figure out what makes you different from all the rest of us. Get creative in showing that difference, because that difference is your brand. What do people think about when they think about you? That's your brand. What are the promises you've made to people? What do you stand for? What predictable behaviors do you have? That's your brand. All of that is a part of your brand. Let's get creative in how we're showing that. Creative in how we're showing up. So we can separate ourselves. And you'll find people will follow you just to see your creativity, just to see what you're going to do next or how you're going to do it. So be creative in your branding. Be creative with, your tag names or monikers, I am D Muse, D Muse, like the Muse, like the Muse. I didn't create my first initial and last name, but I put it together creatively, and I recognized the play on words and leaned into that, emphasized that. That's my brand. Pay the artist is the mentality. It's the motto. It's my tagline. And when you think about I am D Muse, you think pay the artist. There was creativity involved in that, which helped me separate myself from the other people that do what it is that I do, how they do it though, because nobody does what it is that I do, but they do their own thing. There's other art business coaches out there. I'm definitely not the only one. I hadn't ran across any others until I started doing it, but that doesn't mean they didn't exist prior to me doing it. But be creative with your creativity. Otherwise, most people won't see it. And you really did it just for you at that point. I mean, personally, I believe the process of creating art is for you, but the art is for everybody else. I should jot that down. That's a bar right there. Actually, hold on, give me 2 seconds. Let me jot that down. That could be a post later. See, again, be creative with your creativity. The process of creating is for you. The creation is for everybody else. Damn. Bars, right? So be a creative creator. Be creative in your branding. Be creative in your marketing. What are you doing? Posting and praying? Who do that work for? Very few people. So are you creating a strategy? Are you targeting? Are you accumulating leads? Are you collecting information? What is the goal first and foremost? And then what creative strategy are we coming up with on how to achieve that goal? Posting and praying ain't it. You have to be creative in your marketing. Where are you going to show up? What are you going to say when you show up there? Again, what's going to make you memorable? What's going to make you stand out? What's going to draw other people towards you? Be Be creative in your marketing. A piece of that um, strategy, I believe you should use. You should utilize work that's already been done. Like, why do all that work again? It's already been done. You can utilize your time, resources on some other work that hasn't been done. So if there's an audience that I need, if I share an audience, excuse me, with someone else, and I tap into that audience, I'd rather do that because it's going to save me a lot of time. It might take them a couple of years to build that audience, take me minutes to get exposed to them, and then to attract whoever I'm going to attract from there. And it's even better when I know that's my audience, not just random people. That's my audience. So I'm going to collaborate with somebody who already has the audience I need. I'm going to cross market with them. I expose them to mine. They expose me to theirs. And we have opportunities to capitalize off of the people that already are interested in what it is that we're doing. And you should be finding multiple of these people. But get creative in how you collaborate. Collaborate with artists of, different mediums. Maybe I can collaborate on, if not a piece, maybe an event, maybe just a video. Let's say you have a poet and you paint. They got followers, you got followers. Maybe you're painting live and they're doing some poetry, and then bam, that's the video y'all collaborate on. Y'all both put that out. Maybe you're a poet and you know somebody who signs, but you don't sign. Then you're doing your poetry and they up there, twisting their fingers up. No disrespect anybody, but needs to do that. Collaborate. Going to get further faster, and you're going to build the know, like, trust factor faster because you've essentially been vouched for. They said you were cool. They collaborated with you. So anybody that's following them feels more comfortable following you now or interacting with you, supporting you now, because y'all collaborate together. So don't just look for people that are doing exactly what it is that you're doing. Think of creative ways you can do your piece and I can do my piece, and it can all make sense together. Get creative with your collaborations. Get creative with everything that it is that you do. Like, don't just be creative when it comes time to create. Don't turn it off. If you're creative, it is who you are. Don't turn it off. Don't feel like it needs to be limited to when I'm making something. Because once you make it, it needs to go where it is supposed to go, touch whoever it is supposed to touch, because it's not for you. The process of creating is for you. The creation is for everybody else. Make sure you create. Make sure you're creative about what you do with your creations. Catch you next episode. This is D Muse. Make sure you visit imdmuse.com. Check us out for your artists, branding, marketing, sales, and positioning. Peace. Paid artists.